What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Italian Stallion, ready for another episode of Rebels with a Cause. You know what time it is, baby. It is 9:30 on a Tuesday night, and that means only one thing. It's time for the cause, because the cause don't stop when that clock hits zero. Gonna have a great show tonight. Hope everybody tunes in and is excited about it. Whether you're watching it live or recorded, please hit that like and subscribe button. Definitely share it. Tell everybody about us. You know, we do this for the love of the game and also the love of West sports. And all I got to know is, in channeling my Bruce Buffer, it's time! 4 quarters of a rivalry of West Knoxville in the making 1 year. You've got the defending, reigning, undisputed 5A champions for the last 628 days and counting. 3-time state champion overall, the Knoxville West Rebels. And in the red corner, you've got the challenger, the new kid on the block who wants respect to snap that 5-game losing streak. The Bearden Bulldogs. Let's get it on Saturday night, 8 o'clock. Can you feel it, everybody? I'm so excited about it, and I'm just ready. I'm just ready, and I know my co-hosts are ready. You know, it happens once a year, and this is how it should be. Prime time, the game on television. After all the appetizers of Thursday and the main slate on Friday, we end it with this matchup between these two powerhouses in 6A and 5A respectively. Obviously, West going for undisputed 3 in a row. You've got Bearden, who wants to make their case known. They've been state champions in other sports, basketball, soccer, tennis, but this is the baseball. But this is the sport they really want to lock in on. And what better way to do it at home against the defending reigning champions from 5A, the Knoxville West Rebels. So it should be a dynamic matchup. This show, we will talk about it, and we have a very, very fun announcement to talk about this Saturday that we hope people can be a part of and would love to see it and obviously watch it live. But that's the most important thing right now. It's West and it's Bearden, and it's time to get it on. This is some serious business. That's what's going down Saturday night. The big boom in West Knoxville at Bearden High School. But I don't want to hog all the attention, because most importantly, more than anything, I want to bring my co-hosts on because we have a lot to talk about this game. Got some fun facts about the rivalry and the series, talk about past games, and also break down this game with the guys that are playing now. That's going to be the most important thing. But first and foremost, we've got some little housekeeping business I got to do. As always, the views and opinions of this program are not affiliated with those of any other organization or of West High School. These are solely the RWAC crew. That's myself, the Italian Stallion, two-pair Tate, Brian Tate, and also the coach, our stat guy, Shane O'Mac, Shane McGee. Also want to give a shout out to our fellow West Rebel, class of 2003 grad, Mr. Alex Thatcher and his Knoxville Coffee Company. They're located in the heart of Marble City. Go pay him a visit. Get that brew right there off of Sutherland Avenue. It'd be a nice brew to have that morning of the game while you're catching us on high school game day live from Bearden High School, as also, and have it as a nightcap, hopefully celebrating a victory Saturday night. So go pay them a visit there off of Sutherland Avenue. And also got to give a shout out to my gals Kim Castle and Rachel Davis, always making the Italian Stallion look fly and suave. They're on King's Chamber, they're on Washington Pike. If you go pay them a visit, tell them Rebels with a Cause sent you. They'll get you a little discount there. And very soon they will be getting pedicures and manicures going to go along with the other stuff that they do. The beard trims, the haircuts, the facials, the waxes, and also the massages. So definitely pay those nice ladies over there on the Pike at King's Chamber. They'll definitely show you the royal treatment and treat you like the king you totally deserve to be. So without further ado, let's get this thing going. I'm going to bring him on because he is my brother. He is a rebel with a cause, and it is because it's so many ways. I lost count how to name him. What do you want to talk about first? The fact that he was the Mr. 2003 West, and hell, he's still Mr. West. I don't care what year it is. He will always be Mr. West. He is going to be going on his 19th year as the voice of the Runnin' Rebels and Lady Rebels basketball. So it's going to be really exciting to see him call those games for the 19th straight year. He is my brother. He is so much fun to be with. Working hard guy. Always fun on the mic. My favorite Florida State Seminole. The one, the only, two-pair Tate, Brian Tate. Show him some love, everybody.
Well, it's Bearden Week. It's
Woo-hoo!
like West Knoxville. West Knoxville is showing a lot of just excitement. Like, no matter where you go, this is the most talked about game in the city. Like, nowhere in Knoxville, it's going to be one of the most packed places to be Saturday night. Like, you're going to have to get there at 6 if the game starts at 8.
Yes.
You're gonna have to get there at 6:15 if the game starts at 8.
Well, and not to mention, if we can just, there's no sugarcoating this part of it, okay? Truth of the matter is you're going to have every team that these guys are facing going to be there with their coaches and players, probably scouting, getting a little look at the enemy.
Yeah.
That's the advantage, okay?
Yeah.
You got it on TV as well. Prime time, 8 o'clock, as it should be, especially when you got Tupper. Can you read that? How many days have we been 5A champs for, real quick? Can you read that?
128 days.
Absolutely. We're must-see TV because we're the defending, reigning back-to-back champs, and that's how it should be, especially with a rivalry of this magnitude and athletes and players on both sides of it. Great coaching staffs, great fan bases, great student sections. This is where it's supposed to be. And the weather could not be more perfect for a clear, beautiful side. It felt like fall outside today, bro. I mean, what'd you think about that, man?
It felt great outside.
Serious.
Like, it might be hoodie and short weather for that game.
It might be. Yeah, I think it's only a high of 82, low of 69. So when the sun goes down officially around 9 o'clock in that second, might get the hoods out, honestly. So yeah,
you might have
sure.
To. But one thing I will say is the way this team has been followed, it has been crazy to think about the support that they're getting and the eyes that have been on them. I saw a kid's post as a reel, and it had Knoxville West is one of the top 4 schools in the state of Tennessee for football.
Yep.
Like, we didn't get to say that when we were in school.
No.
Did we have athletes just walking around that didn't play football? Absolutely. There were some guys at West that didn't play, but when you look at that school and the way it is now, you'd be a dummy not to want to play for West High. Like,
exactly.
Like, you got to try out to make West team. No, not everybody. Yeah, you got to try. They hold tryouts for West team.
Yeah, I mean, you got 94 guys to pair on this roster. 94.
Yeah. Like 94. Like, when they did their team pictures, I'm gonna tell you what sticked out to me. When you look at the team photos of West, do you see their freshman and JV team with the blue jerseys, or is that their freshman team?
Yeah. They're as big as our varsity was. Their
freshman team is as big as our varsity teams were back in the day. Like, that is a lot of freshmen. And do they have it dispersed where it's freshman and JV?
No, the JV's already into the varsity. So the whoever's wearing the red is probably some JV in there, but those blues are mainly the freshmen, from what I understand.
Yeah, because if that's the freshman, if that class stays together, I'm counting a lot of guys on that freshman team. There shouldn't be any two-way players at all.
No. And that just gets them ready of what they're going to be when they take that next step. You got some guys that
Yeah.
do play both sides of the ball, like Antarius McAllister or Antoine Burdine,
Mm-hmm.
but then you got
Mm-hmm.
some guys that mainly defense, like a Wyatt DeRoche and Jack Keith. And by the way, props to for doing for sending that senior moment thing that they're doing now, which I think is
Yeah.
super cool. And Jack Keith said that if he could play any other position, it'd be wide receiver. God love him, man. He's 5'8"
Hey
like
man,
me, on a good day. But man, that boy can
I
play.
love
I'm
Jack,
telling you,
but I
Captain
love
Jack.
Jack Keith. Um, when I found out he played football, because he's a basketball guy as well.
Yep.
You want to talk about just a heady player, makes the right plays, smart with the basketball, can handle the basketball. Jack Keith didn't turn over the basketball a lot and would guard the best player. Like
Hmm.
when he was trying to give Javin Carter all he could handle, and
He
Javin
was.
Carter just had the height advantage. But my thing about Jack Keith competes.
He does.
He
And he had
competes.
108 tackles last year next to playing with the great Ryan Scott, who had 170 something tackles. So you can imagine that linebacking core, without Anderson and Ryan's going to be tested this week. But I think you've got some guys to go with Jack, because Jack is the one constant from last year to get those guys in a position. And those guys did get playing time last year. Lavelle, JP Peace, and
Mm-hmm.
Davis Neely, they are going to make a name
Davis
for
Neely.
themselves.
I
Yeah,
think
number 45, my namesake, my
I
number. So
also
yeah,
now what position does Sutton play?
Sutton. Um,
Sutton, if we bring up the rosters,
he is a linebacker. He backup to Lavelle, if I'm not mistaken, there in
yeah,
that
I
outside. So
like.
yeah.
I'm a. Hey, Sutton, I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
Larry Frank supporting it. Stallion two pair. What's good, fellas? Tuned in to support the Rebels all the way from the Bayou. Thank you, Larry Frank. And we got our first game on Saturday. And listen, if you've got nothing going on Saturday night at 8 p.m., which would be 7 p.m. your time, if you go to rivalrythursday.com, our game will be the featured game on that website. It's local here on ABC at 8 o'clock, but that'd be 7 o'clock your time if you want to catch the Rebels in action and just see if we live up to the hype or not that we've made and so forth. So, that's
That's
so
what's up.
definitely catch
Shout
that
out
up.
to
That's what's up.
Utah. Shout out to Larry Frank, man.
Yep. Shout out to you, Talk, man. They were
Larry
bringing it.
Frank.
So.
Larry Frank always has the best one-liners on Rebels with a
Oh,
Cause. If you ever watch our show, look at the comments. Some of the stuff Larry Frank Jr. says, man, is some like good stuff, man.
Larry, I'll do one better. Yeah, I'll definitely Facebook message you that, and that way you can have it. So for sure. So, want to bring on our third guy, because let me tell you something. While I was partying it up with my boy, shout out to Mr. Mark Machado and his 40th birthday. We tore down Greensboro over the weekend,
I
and
heard.
two
I'm
pair,
proud
you
of
were
you turning it down.
yeah,
I
a little
turned
under
it
the
down in
weather.
Nashville.
There you go. So
The
you
whole
were in
time
Nashville.
I was tearing it down on Nashville with the same guys trying to get a ride everywhere that I was going to at the conference. So yeah,
There you go. So you're in
horrible
Nashville.
experience.
You're in Nashville. I'm in Gboro.
Yeah,
The one guy that actually stayed behind and did his job to actually cover the team in the Jamboree was the coach. So
give
let's
it up for
bring him
coach.
on. Let's
Don't
bring
clap it
on
up.
the coach.
Clap it
So
up.
yes,
Clap it
yes.
up. Clap it
Let's
up.
bring
Clap
him
it up.
on. So the coach, there he is.
What's up, y'all?
He's the
What's up?
only
Yeah, I
one.
did my
He's the
job
only
last
one.
Thursday.
He was the only one that did his job. We did not do our job. This is the first week. I don't think we covered West. We
Yeah.
normally we've been at every scrimmage.
Yes.
And the one guy that goes to the Jamboree is the same guy that coaches football. Like that's when you know. Like
Well,
I'm
luckily,
so proud.
luckily it was in my
Proud of you,
backyard.
dude.
The
It's
program
in your
I'm at,
backyard.
yeah, it literally, I drove
Like
5 minutes down the street.
you see how things just play out for us. You were going to Greensboro. I'm in Nashville. Shane is coaching. Shane's son plays football for Corn. Like, this is pretty dope, man. Like, when we get older and look back at episodes like this, and for you being there, like, what did you see, and how was it? Like, you know what I'm saying, you're a former player, now you're a coach, and you're with your son watching the Jamboree. Like, talk about that experience, man.
I still wish it had been at Neyland because that's just that experience in itself is amazing. Because like I remember in our playing days, like being out there on that field and looking up at the cathedral that is Neyland and being on the field and all the legends that have been there is amazing. But the atmosphere at Carnes was great. You had 8 teams out there playing a quarter each. Everybody came out and supported. I saw the Kimber twins from Fulton out there.
Wow.
They were out there watching the game. Because I mean,
shout out to the Kimber twins and shout out to their parents.
Yeah,
happy anniversary to them.
I remember watching them play when they were at Willow Springs because my daughter cheered for West Valley, and that was a big matchup between those two teams. Those two teams, when they win, they played their butts off against each other because it was which one of them won that game determined who was going to state, basically. But what I saw from West was the run game is still there. The run game is going to be our bread and butter this year. We scored 14 points in the quarter that we had. Grace did make a good effort, got down into the red zone and failed to score.
How did they fail to score? Did they turn it over on downs, or did they turn the ball over? What happened there?
I'm trying to remember exactly. I think it was a turnover on downs. I think there was a fumble that we recovered, if I remember correctly. There was a lot going on really quick, and I had a bad spot for where I could watch the game from because the bleachers were full on both sides. So I was over on the far sideline next to the end zone as Grace was pushing down. Saw him make it to the 20, and they got inside, but they never were able to really score. Field goal tip wasn't good. I can't remember if it was a fumble or a field goal tip. I really can't remember on that part. The run game was amazing. We broke off some big runs down the field, had a couple passes in there to get in scoring position, just ran the ball like we're supposed to. I still want to see some improvement from the secondary. That middle's still wide open, and I want to see some changes there. You've got to watch that because a good team will pick that apart on you. And that's if they want to control the clock, that's going to be nickel and diamond all day through the middle. But it was great. No, I was sitting there. My son's out there playing with his team. The whole team was there. 8th grade, 7th grade, 6th grade was there to support the high schoolers and watch while they played. Everybody's out there in their jerseys. You had fans from all the programs out there. We had Webb, Carter, West, Grace, Carnes, South Doyle, Farragut, and Fulton. And
that's great.
Farragut and Fulton was a better game than I predicted. It was 3-0 between those two.
Who had the 3? Farragut or Fulton?
Farragut had 3. Fulton just couldn't get into the end zone, but they were moving the ball. They were making some stops. It was a hard-fought game. Webb took it to Carter. I expected that because it's Webb, and you know those kids come to play, and yeah, I mean that's one of the best teams money can buy. Basically, if you look at it that way, I'll say it like that because that's the only way you're getting in that school on that football team. Cards South Doyle was a good game. Both teams look good. I think that one finished at 7-6, if I remember correctly. So that was a good one.
I'm looking at that right now, 7-6. Yep. Yes, sir.
And then, West did their thing. I don't remember what the score was to the Webb Carter game, but that was just murderous. I was just like, these two teams shouldn't be on the same field together. The way that game was played. So.
Yeah, I did want to give a little bit of a breakdown for the West Grace game. Parker Dubon threw one pass. He was 1 of 1. It was a 32-yard pass to Antoine Burdine. That actually got West down to the 18-yard line and set up Antarius McAllister touchdown run. So that put the Rebels up 7-0. And also Messiah Wren started the opening drive, had 3 carries for 12 yards. And then Tavion Ray also had a big 42-yard run as well as a 5-yard run. And I believe that the other touchdown was a pass from Harrison to one of the receivers for West, and that was your scoring 14-0.
It was in the back left corner of the end zone.
Back left corner, so okay,
yep.
Gotcha.
All I saw was I couldn't see the catch because you had players and fans in the way. All I saw was ref's hands go up. I see the player run all the way up to the track. I was like, he was hauling.
Yeah, no, they looked pretty good from the highlights that I saw, and it was pretty awesome to see that and them do what they needed to do, honestly. And a lot of momentum going into this weekend, obviously, and again took care of business. 14 points in one quarter is pretty awesome. Honestly, it really is, and so forth. So yeah.
I even ran one of my old coaching buddies. Found out he's got a job over at Central High School as a coach now, over there with Coach Lane. So congrats to my boy Q, who I remember him getting his feet wet in the coaching ranks as a middle school DB coach. Now he's made it to the high school level. So shout out to Q.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome. And Central, they've got a big one this week, the Battle of Broadway. There's so many big games this week. You love to see it. You hate that they're all on the same night or the same weekend, but you've got Farragut at Dobbins Bennett up Sport traveling Thursday. Of course, the rivalry Thursday game is Anderson County against Powell, two teams on West's schedule. So I'm going to be sneaking a peek to see how they look, coming up this Thursday night, because we play both of them. But you also have Fulton and Central. Central is in our region, so the Battle of Broadway there. And realistically, though, guys, we have got the game Saturday night. West and Bearden. I mean, it's serious business. That's all I've got to say about that one. So yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no doubt about
business. It. I mean, don't get me wrong. You do have the Battle of Broadway. I think that's big. But when it's the Battle of the West Side, when it's the Battle of the West Side, like it's a little different.
Yeah. By the way, the receiver that caught that touchdown was Abel Anslot. Keep going, too, Pair. So I want to give him a shout out.
When they say West and Bearden, it isn't Bearden West. If you notice, West Bearden, it
flows.
Synonymous. Bearden is inside the West community.
That's right. That's right.
Growing up, playing it.
Or the Bearden, you can say it's the Bearden community, because it's the Bearden community in West.
That's true. That still makes 0 sense to me.
Makes 0 sense.
Because Bearden was already there.
Yeah.
The high school was right down the street.
Yep.
Before West was built.
They were 1 year apart. They were 2 years apart, actually. 2 years apart. Where Bearden Elementary is, Bearden was 1949, West was 1951. So they were 2 years apart. Yep.
Yeah, because West 50th was in 01.
Yep. When Bearden stomped on our emblem. So, yep, they stomped on our emblem. Yep. So.
And then the next year we burned the 14-0 into the end zone.
That's right. We sure did. We were the ones to beat the streak. So, yeah, we were the ones to finally legitimately beat them. And by the way,
I actually got into an argument with a Bearden player a couple of years ago about, I remember distinctively the Bearden player or the West fans jumping over Bearden's fence when we won that game. He's like, there was ever a fence at Bearden. I was like, dude, I remember watching the student section jump over the fence and storming that field when we won.
There was so much bad blood of how they stomped on the 50th emblem and everything, of how they beat us that game. By the way, I will talk about key games in the series. What you were looking at, too, Pair, right there, is all these goodies I have from this rivalry, from who's won more to who's scored more points, all that stuff. I've got a gem of stuff that you guys can chew on to get you ready for Saturday. So let's bring it. Let's get to it. Okay. Speaking of that game, I believe the final score was 30-11. Bearden beat West on that 50th anniversary of West. Chris Ernst had a monster game, and basically after the game there was some shenanigans and they stomped on our emblem. Their students stormed the field and everything like that, and it left a bad taste in our mouth that we had to stew on for a whole year. And so there was even talk that should we win, and we knew we were going to win, we just didn't know how much we were going to win by. We were clearly the better team the following year, but there was that not only were we going to storm the field, we wanted to tear down one of their goalposts just to get back at them. and so forth. It didn't happen, but there was talk about that. But we just jumped on their emblem back.
We started. Oh, I'm thinking my senior year. My bad. But we started. I can't remember what my senior year score was.
No. There's something major about yours that I've got down. Okay. So, as we know, I've hyped this up that this game is going to be at 8 o'clock on Channel 6, WATE. And it is Rivalry Thursday, but on a Saturday, the LMU game of the week, or what have you.
Game of the year. What's this?
Game of the year. Yeah, it's one sponsorship. Yeah. And so anyway, 8 o'clock p.m., you're going to see so much of how they have elevated that. But once upon a time, it was the game you're talking about, Shane, that was your senior year, was played on August 30th, 2002 at West. West won that game 9-0 over Bearden. But here's the best part about it. It was the first high school televised game in the area by Mark Packer. And I find it full circle that look how we've evolved, that we were the first one, and it was just there. He had a couple of cameras. I mean, it was very bare minimum, and now you have all these graphics and stuff. But yeah, talk about it, Shane, honestly.
My mom had that game recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like just coming back home, I was like, where's the tape? Like I immediately got home, I was like, I want to see the tape. And shout out to my senior class that year. We beat both Bearden and Alcoa.
You did? Yeah, you started out 2-0.
That was right before Alcoa went off on their major run as a program. And like we took it to Alcoa that year too.
No, you did on the road at Alcoa. I mean, that team of yours started 2-0. I don't know what the hell happened after that because you only won one game afterwards or whatever. But
we beat Halls finally.
Halls at the end of the year. It's like you won the first two, lost everything in the middle, and then. But here's the thing: you were competitive in a lot of those games.
We did it.
You didn't get blown out. I mean, yeah, for sure.
Blew us out. Fulton was a close game. Central was a close game. Clinton was a close game. See, who else do we have on the schedule that year? I can't even remember. That's been forever ago.
The Powell game was criminal. You guys lost like 7-3 or something like that game.
We destroyed their field so bad that game because they had this beast running back then. The JV and freshman games had been moved to West because the field was destroyed.
In such bad shape. Yeah, because it was late October. I remember that actually.
Yeah. That was. I remember that game. I don't know why I cried after that game because we should have.
Well, and I think by losing that also hurt you guys from making the playoffs. You had to win that one to get to the playoffs. I mean, so that's the thing. So but to the Bearden West, here's some stats for you guys. The teams have met a total of, and this is kind of crazy to even think about. The first game was played back in 1951, but there was a lull of 10 years that it wasn't played. And then there's been a year or so here or there. But the game has been played 61 times. This will be the 62nd meeting. Bearden leads the all-time series 39-21 and 1. There was one tie back in 1953. It was 0-0. Must have been the most boring game ever. If anybody's still alive from that game, God love you guys. Honestly, yes.
I actually know somebody who would have been alive during that time frame. He's a West graduate. Dated his granddaughter, friends with his other granddaughter. He was the inaugural class of West in 1951. He's now 84 years old. So happy birthday, Jim. Saw your birthday was the other day. You still look a day over 60, but happy birthday.
Well, just in case anybody sees this. So we do have somebody that knew of the 0-0 tie in 1953. Okay. Yep. So now this will be the 62nd meeting. Bearden leads the series 39-21 and one tie. However, since the vaunted Chris Ernst game in 2000, West, though, is in favor of this series 14-8. Winning the last 5 in a row, going for 6 on Saturday. The largest victory for West in the entire series history was by the 2014 OG state champs, who won 54-19 at Bearden. It was Bearden's homecoming, and that is the highest West margin in the series, which by my count was 35 points. The largest victory for Bearden took place in 1960, where Bearden walloped West 60-0 in that game. So Bearden has the margin of victory over West with 60 points. So yeah, so keep that in mind. Points in the 61 meetings, Bearden has totaled 1,027 points. West has totaled 719. So there's definitely those years where that's the difference. But I didn't look at where it was these last since 2000. But I guarantee West definitely has obviously the more points than Bearden in that time frame. Some games that stood out real quick that if you want to add to any thoughts on. I've already talked about the Chris Ernst game. I've talked about your game, Shane, the 9-0 first Packer game. 2003 was the first overtime game that took place between both schools. That was the infamous Justin Jackson fumbled while he was going in the end zone. The refs talked about it for 3 minutes and ruled him out, ruled at the ball, which makes it a touchback. Bearden scores on the next drive and ends up winning 13-7. I thought Jackson was in the end zone with the ball, but you never leave it up to the referees. But Bearden ended up winning that game in overtime, 13-7. There's only been one other overtime game, and that took place in 2019. It was at West. West ended up winning 34-31 in overtime over the Bulldogs, and that's what started this 5-game winning streak.
That's the one where they caught the ball in the front corner of the left side of the end zone.
Yes.
Final play. I remember that one.
Yeah.
I was there for that one. I was on the far sideline watching that game, and I was just like, of course, that was back in my Bearden days. I was like, oh my God. And that was, as a Bearden guy for being for that program, that was devastating. But at the same time, I'm like, that's my school. So
well, and that was a very competitive hell of a game too. 34-31. I mean, it was like, and then the fact that it went into overtime, that was a big deal right there, honestly. I mean, so literally speaking, there's been 2 overtime games. It's been 1-1. A couple of other games that show out is the fact that on August 25th, 2006, Bill Wilson came back to coaching, and not only did he come back to coaching, but he went back to the field where he that was named after him, still is named after him, and led Bearden to a 31-29 victory over Coach Cummings, his pupil.
That was a crazy game.
That was a crazy game in 06.
That was a crazy game in 06. I remember being there, and it felt like all the ghosts of Bill Wilson's teams helped him win that game.
Oh, absolutely it did. Absolutely it did.
I would have loved to see what Coach Wilson could have done there had we not lost him that off season. Because I remember being home on leave, not leave, but I was home for the holidays when got the word he passed. And like that broke my heart.
Oh, it was devastating. No, it was devastating.
I was actually talking with Terry earlier today. I was over at his house doing some work today, and we were talking. He's like, "Man, you missed out on a great era at West when Coach Wilson was in charge, because he got to experience it his freshman year. Mm-hmm. My freshman year, or my BT's freshman year, when Coach Rogers took over, and it's just the program was so different. Like, it was great having Coach Wilson still there and being involved with us, but I would have loved to have played under Coach Wilson.
Oh, me too. No, definitely. And to talk about that, Shane, you actually did a great prelude into the next game I wanted to mention, was the Bill Wilson Memorial game that was played on August 31st, 2007 at Bearden. It was a hell of a game. Bearden ended up holding on to win 17-14. Jake Ryan threw an interception while he was leading West down the field. That Bearden ran out the clock and ended up winning 17-14. And realistically, Bearden winning that 2006 game, they went on their winning streak. They won in '06, they won in '07, they won in '08, and they won in '09. And basically, it was almost a shoo-in that they should have won in 2010 on October 22nd. That was the infamous Devrin Young game where West just put it all together and really became the program that they are today based on that 2010 team, because they went into Bearden as underdogs and absolutely walloped Bearden 34 to 13.
It was always so weird for me on that one. That game was so late in the season because I was always
Yes.
the first or second game of the year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. No,
it was a late game. It was a late game.
The first game of the year.
Yeah. And here's the thing. That's the second to last week.
I remember getting off work, going to that game, and I saw so many people leaving.
Yeah.
Like, it was so many people leaving, and that's the game that put West back on the map.
It did. It did. No, because West used that game to go all the way to Columbia Central and lose to Shaq Mason, who played for Georgia Tech and the New England Patriots. And if it wasn't for Shaq Mason, West would have gotten their first state title in 2010, because there is no doubt in my mind, if West finds a way to beat Columbia, they would have killed the team that they played next week, who Columbia did. That Columbia West game was the state championship as far as I'm concerned. It was just played in the semifinals on the coldest night ever in Columbia the day after Thanksgiving that year. But that West game is what propelled West to not only end Bearden's 4-game winning streak, but West went on to win in 2011, 2012, 2013, and of course the 2014 game I mentioned, and that was a 5 in a row for West. So this series, or this game, has been a battle of streaks. So if West wins, they will continue being 6 in a row. If Bearden wins, they snap the streak, and then the pressure falls on Bearden to hold serve, in subsequent years coming up. But that's the stuff. So yeah. Hey, I was hoping he was watching. I wanted to showcase it because he said it. Fun game, really put West on the map. Mr. Merritt, how are you, sir? So yes, his name is an anonymous. So he's not even. You're not even seeing that comment. He's not even on this show right now. But he is always there.
Getting to talk football with him at the Catholic scrimmage was good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's my homeboy. I love that guy.
He's a savant.
He is a savant. So he is.
Shout out to my guy.
Yep, shout out to Mr. Merritt. So, but yeah, that's some of the stuff that I had down here. Oh, and then of course the big one that West can actually say towards Bearden right now, at least in football, 3 state titles. Bearden still looking for that first one in football. Got him in other sports.
They got him in other sports, but they've never won in football.
Nope.
That's shocking to me.
Yeah. I mean, they've had some good players, but they've never really – the furthest they've ever gone, and Shane, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they got to the semifinals one year and lost, if I'm not mistaken. It was either the quarterfinals or the semifinals they lost. They beat Farragut. I remember that they had to beat Revez and all them. So
during my time with them, the deepest run would have been last year.
Last year? Okay.
Yeah.
I swear they got to the semifinals in like 2009.
What about those Devrin Young teams?
That's what I'm saying. I think the 2009 Devrin Young team got to the semifinals, but they lost to like Oakland or Riverdale. They lost to somebody.
I was still living in South Carolina. I hadn't moved back to Tennessee yet.
Yeah.
I was down in South Carolina, still following West and all that stuff. So I didn't even start getting to the Bearden program. Let's see. What year would that have been? This is my 10th year coaching. So 2014 when we won state. So that's when I got into coaching. But I still remember being at the parade for West winning over in Rocky Hill, sitting out there on the North Shore.
I'm actually going to look up Bearden. You guys talk amongst yourselves of some things that you remember from those games I mentioned. Chat box, keep hopping. I'm just curious of how far they've ever gotten. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, because that's like one of the questions I was wondering is like, I just remember when Devrin was at Bearden, it was must-see TV.
Yeah.
Like, he was must-see TV. If you talk about anybody that's ever played in this rivalry, he was the guy you wanted to watch to play. Like, Devrin Young was, like, legit. and legit in college as well.
Yeah. I wish he'd put a little bit more size in college. Just, I think he would have better careers than just as a returner. But
yeah.
All right, I've got it for you guys. I was right. I didn't know the year, but it was the semifinals. They eventually lost to the state champion. So here it is. This was the team that I just mentioned. West lost, Jake Ryan throwing the interception. And you talk about what would they have done with Coach Wilson. Well, Coach Taylor had taken over for Wilson when Coach Wilson tragically passed away in that offseason. That Bearden team went 12-2 the entire year. Their only loss was to Farragut in the regular season, 35-20. They avenged that game against Nick Rivez and Shane Rivez at Farragut in the third round quarterfinal. They won 28-14, only to lose the following week at Smyrna in the semifinals, 17-14. Smyrna went on to win the state championship the following week in Murfreesboro. So, and Smyrna was actually is one of the two-time state West and Central. So Smyrna won in 06 and won in 07. So those were two special teams there for Smyrna to go back to back. But that is the deepest and probably best Bearden team of all time, 12-2, and that would have been Devin Young's freshman year, by the way. Just to let you know. So,
that would have been his freshman year.
His freshman year, and I don't know if he was really showcased on that team, but that Bearden team did go 12-2, and again, like I said, lost in the semifinals. So that's their deepest run. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just players in this series like the Jake Ryans in this series. You know what I'm saying? The Abdul Hendersons, the Larry Willifords.
Yep. Sean Sanders.
Tommy the Sean Sanders, the Tommy Wintons, it's been some guys in this series that have made play. Judd Chandler. Like there's been guys that have made plays in this series that you remember.
I'm going to say
Terry broke the sack record. Ooh, would have been my junior year.
Yeah, Terry sacked Michael Webb a lot in that game. By the way, Michael Webb on his back for Bearden.
So, 4.5 sacks in the game, which at the time should have been the record, but we weren't keeping stats the way we were supposed to. But pretty sure Terry had the record at that time.
Mr. Merritt's actually, does Devin Young have any other eligibility left? He would have been a great Rebel. Yeah, he would have been a great Rebel. Hey, I'll tell you this, a name that stands out to me, because if you talk about just utter dominance by West in a game against Bearden, it was the DeBrian Venardo game where West ended up winning, I believe, either 32 or 34-0. I can look it up real quick. My gosh, DeBrian Venardo announced himself to 32-0. West won, and it was at West. It was the beginning of the year, and DeBrian Venardo, Nate Martin, shout out to Nate, and Hootie Henderson were like this. Like they began the veer. They really were like the veer, honestly. Those three guys.
Wasn't Skylar Castle been in the backfield as well?
Skylar was a 2003 guy. Skylar was
2004.
Was he 2004?
Yeah, he's not. He's younger than us.
Yeah,
but I thought Skylar would have been.
He was Nate's class.
Was he really? Yeah. Okay, I thought he was a year ahead of Nate. Nate. So, okay.
He was behind me.
Skylar Cassell was a beast.
Yeah.
He was small, but that dude. I thought I had muscles. That dude made me look like I'm a toothpick.
Man, Skylar was nice, man.
Yeah,
Skylar was nice. I won't say Eric Robertson. Was,
Eric.
That class. Eric Robinson. Judd Chandler probably was the stud of their class, though.
Yeah, no, Judd had. You talk about Judd had a lot of sacks on defense.
Judd
Chandler. Yeah,
Judd and Luke were so different from each other. Judd was so quiet, but when he's on that field, like you just have to kind of sit back and watch. Like I was watching him.
And then guys that had great games against Bearden, like you know what I'm saying, Sadat Fowles, Jeff Pagas, you know what I'm saying? Like those guys had great games against Bearden.
I've got one for you guys, by the way. Has anybody ever seen the West Travel trailer, by the way? Like honestly, the West Travel trailer. If you look on the back of it, there's a West running back running the ball, and some Bearden player, God love him, gets absolutely poster sized. Does anybody know that guy's name? I mean, he is on the back of the trailer.
Yes. Yes.
Who is
I
it?
know his name. I love that kid.
Who is it? I just need to know. I mean,
I'm not going to put his last name out there. His name is Sam.
His name is Sam. Okay, so we'll just leave him as Sam.
Well, damn, Sam.
Damn
Sam.
No, and the look on his face, poor baby.
That kid was all district, all state. That kid is a beast. Love that kid to death. I know his family very well. I've coached that kid.
I feel horrible now. I really do. I didn't know who it was. I've always just wanted to know. Like, I'm just curious.
I could tell by the hair.
All I know is however he was hit, man, there is a look of anguish. Like, he just got absolutely just trucked. I mean, it looked rough.
Moss a freaking interception in the end zone. Okay? That kid is a beast. That kid has the most heart I've ever seen out of any football player ever. One of the most coachable kids. I told him in 8th grade at our first receiver meeting that we had, I had 2 receivers. One of them is a Tennessee State player now, doing his big things out there. Shout out to Connor. I looked both of them dead in the eye. I was like, you 2 are D1 receivers right now. I'm telling you this, and I know for a personal fact that Sam had the opportunity to walk on at UT.
Wow.
I ran into his dad last weekend when we had our Jamboree. Not last weekend, but the weekend before last when we had our Jamboree. Ran into him at it might have been the Tennessee-Georgia game, and we were talking. And he told me flat out, he was like, he has the opportunity to walk on at UT if he wants to. That kid could ball. And I watched that kid win a championship in the middle school league against Alcoa, which Alcoa was you couldn't defeat Alcoa at that time. That's still a good program. All right. Head up and down, that's a good program. Shout out to my 7th grade team, though. They won 36-6 the other day.
You handled business the other day. So, speaking of walk-ons at UT, shout out to number 50, the great Ryan Scott, man. He's going to get some if we see Ryan Scott make a tackle, I'm going to just mark out, man. Honestly, I really am.
Another shout out, even though he's not a West Side, but he's a West Knoxville kid, Deshaun Bishop.
Yes, we might get to see him. So, yeah.
A walk-on, but he is not a scholarship player. And he, from what I've heard, he's worked his way up to number 2.
Oh, so we should see something. So that's what I'm saying, man. If you put the work in.
Any kid from Knoxville that balls out at the college level and is working their way up the depth chart, shout out to you all.
Yep.
You're putting our Tennessee on the map. Do your thing.
I got a great shout out. I got a shout out.
Anybody that can make it to the level of getting at UT, God bless them. Because, man, you get there, it's like doors open. Doors open.
Oh, quick funny story. Y'all remember when Tennessee had the Beast package with A.J. Johnson, right?
Yep.
So my cousin, Austin, him and A.J. wore the exact same number. Austin was a running back / fullback / long snapper. Okay, outside linebacker. They did the Beast package for the first time during that. Was it the Florida game? I believe. I'm at the bar watching the game. My mom's at home. Austin's name comes across the board.
Because they thought it was him and not AJ, who plays linebacker and defense.
My mom calls me, texts me every day. She's like, Austin, touchdown. Oh my God. I was like, Mom, name one person in our family that does cut dreads. Mom, Austin is as wide as they come. And
that's right.
I mean, he won a state championship at Farragut back in his day. and then got on at UT as a long snapper. He was a backup long snapper, scout team fullback, good friends with Justin Worley back then. But then, well, I was first a sophomore. I was like, I kind of already knew they'd hinted at the beast package. I knew it was going to be AJ running it, and I was like, that's not Austin. That is not him.
No, that's good.
But
That's funny as hell.
I was like, Mom, I was like, I know our lineage, but ain't none of us got dreads.
That's funny as hell. Oh my God!
I do want to say during this story, by the way, somebody did anonymously message me out of respect for you, Shane, and so forth like that, and didn't want to put it on the chat box. He messaged me and said, as a matter of fact, you should have put that as your background going into this game about the back of the trailer. But I'm not going to do it. But I had to laugh. But I was always. But the trailer just drives around, and it's like, there it is, right there. Like, I mean, that's some fighting words.
That's not that old. He was a 4-year starter there.
Oh, so it's not that old. It happened like not too long ago.
It was in the last 4 years.
Oh, oh man, I didn't even know that. So shoot, okay.
Yeah, they redid that because I know those jerseys. I know which ones they've worn. And I know which white ones those are.
I thought that was back in like 2011 or 2012. I didn't think that's been that recent. So
that is newer.
Well, you know what? If that's the case, then I know who the running back is now for West. If that's who I think it is, so okay. Now I know who it is. So yeah, for sure. Well, let me ask you this, guys. We've talked about the past. Let's do our announcement that we wanted to do. Shout out to our guy, Mr. Paul Romero, the athletic director. He has really helped us Rebels with a Cause get kind of put on the map there and get some support from the school, even though we ain't affiliated with the school. But more important, I am proud to announce that this Saturday, high school game day, live from Bearden High School at 10 a.m., featuring us, the Rebels with a Cause crew, myself, the Italian Stallion, Two-Pair Tate, the coach. For 1 hour, we will be live from Bearden High School this Saturday on this channel. Definitely check it out. We're going to be promoting it all week long, and we are going to break this thing down like when West has the ball, when Bearden has the ball, all the intangibles, and we're going to finish up the show with predictions, and it's going to be great. It's going to be an hour fun. It's been a dream of mine since I was playing. Could you imagine if we had a high school game day show before a game? I'm not talking like a pregame TV thing. I'm talking a actual show where the guys break it down, and we're going to do that. And obviously from the West Rebels with a Cause, but the thing is we know how talented Bearden is. We know what we're facing on Saturday. This isn't going to be no walk in the park. This is a grown man's game that's going to happen, and it deserves the attention that it is absolutely getting, especially between these two programs. And I expect one hell of a battle come Saturday night. Two-Pair, what's your thoughts? And talk about this high school game day we're going to put together on Saturday morning.
Well, first off, never would I have thought in a million years that there's going to be a high school game day for two teams in West Knoxville.
I know.
Never.
I know.
Never would have thought that. Like, in your wildest dreams, did you ever think that you'd be doing a West High School game day from the visiting school?
No. I mean, we've arrived. I mean, before we just showed up and have done these post-scrimmage things, post-spring at Gibbs, we got permission from, shout out to Mr. Shinliver over there at Bearden, the athletic director, for letting us happen. Yeah, thank you, Morgan. Yes. And so we're going to be there live, putting on a show with the Bearden Stadium in the back. It's going to be amazing. It is going to be absolutely fantastic, honestly, and I cannot wait. So it's going to be great. Yeah, and
I can't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, and definitely, it just works out perfect that the game's on Saturday and we can do it. We don't have work or anything like to hinder us beforehand. It can be a legitimate game day. Everybody ready while we wait. Because we end at 11 and the game starts at 8. Warm-ups are going to be around 6-ish. Like Two-Pair said, get there at 6 because it's going to be standing room only. I mean, truth be told, This is going to be standing room only, I really believe, even with the game being on TV and whatever else it's going to be on. So, yeah.
I've played the West Side. I've lived the Bearden side. I don't see the Bearden student section being very loud.
Ooh,
and they've
fighting words. Ooh.
I've been in the press box for a very long time. And I've called my daughter out on this because no, she's a senior, so she's going to be.
Those are her people. Yeah, those are their people.
Yeah, I know the breakdown. I know how they do it. The only time I see that team, I see those kids somewhat get excited is Farragut.
Farragut, yeah.
Cool. You all don't realize that there is the same distance between you all and Farragut as there is between you and West.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say West Knoxville, it is West and Bearden. Farragut wants to be their own little community out there. We'll let them have their little part of town. Cool, y'all got the money, $500 for kids to play youth football, all that good stuff, whatever. When you say West Knoxville, I'm going to a West game, that student section is loud. That student section is here the whole time. They don't care if the stadium's split in half and you've got home on one side, visitors on the other. They don't care. They were yelling the whole time. I know how the student section was when we played. I know how it's been when I've been there for games over the past decade. Y'all loud. West is loud.
They have a theme. The student section has a theme for every game. They've done whiteouts. They've done pink outs. I mean, hula night. I mean, yes.
Every school does. I don't know what Bearden's is for this one. I can literally yell for my daughter to come down here. Hey, what's the theme this weekend? What do I gotta go buy for you? Because that's your school. Those are your people. I still know kids on the team. Shout out to them. I wish y'all the best. Have a good game. But man, my boy West is best. That's what it is.
That's it. Well, and check this out. No, listen. I'm showing these rings for a reason. You want to show out and get loud. This is what you're facing. Okay, this is the standard right now. Okay, honestly, and I'm not trying to start nothing. It's just like get loud. I mean, we're better than Farragut. Are you kidding me? Come on now. So
shout out to Coach Jones for what he did. He put Bearden on the opposite side next to the JSAC, which is named after Jim Smelcher, who's a longtime coach at Bearden. He's got his own athletic facility over there. They put him on that side. So you come out the dog walk, you pat the Bulldog and honor Coach Wilson, RIP Coach Wilson, then you run over there. Student section, your student section is right there behind the visitor team, and they can still call their plays. Y'all are slacking. Because that's a big stadium right there. You are the biggest school in Knox County besides Farragut. And visiting teams can call all their plays. Y'all slacking. Y'all make this a hostile environment, which West will still dominate. I believe it fully after what I've seen and what I've read.
Right.
It's West's game. But y'all take pride in your school. Stop being like, oh, we're just here to do our little thing and we're just going to dress up and we don't pay attention to the game. Pay attention to this game. Pay attention.
It's a big game. It's a huge game. And that's what I don't think people understand. Like the ramifications that come with this game when you look at
this game sets the tone for the season.
It sets the tone for the entire season. The whole season. And what better way to open up your season up against your most bitter rival? Like this game determines whether you are state bound or you're not a contender for state.
Yep. They shout out to Bearden for what they've done with scheduling past state champs, but man. This game determines if you can hold your own against a team we're at 628 days. Was that what it was?
628 days. 628 days. Yes.
628 days.
Yeah.
Like, man, y'all got. This is just me knowing both programs very well. Can't have one good student section that's going to be in your ear the whole time, and another one is just like, it's like we're here because it's the social norm. Like, come on, take pride. Like, I remember our days, like our student section was in the game, and we weren't good. We made the playoff run my freshman year, so 99, but we lost to Cleveland that first week, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Is that right?
First round.
Yeah, first round.
We lost.
Yeah, we lost to Cleveland. And then we didn't see the playoffs again for a while. I mean,
we didn't see the playoffs again until we were out of West.
Yeah.
Not till the 2000 I want to say the 2016 got to the playoffs. So 05 missed it. So yeah. Want to also give a shout out to Squiddish. Thanks for being part of the show and putting a comment in the box. I've been to all the West scrimmages. Their O-line is super impressive, big and physical. Can't wait to watch them boys Saturday. That's going to be a huge key, and I'm glad you brought that up because, truth be told, if West can run the ball the way that they can and control the clock, I think that puts Bearden's offense kind of on their heels to maybe throw it a lot more. And we have mentioned that West's passing defense has been a little suspect, but at the same time,
it's been a little suspect.
It has
suspect. Like what we saw at Catholic was you saw a secondary get exposed.
Mm-hmm.
You saw a secondary get exposed. Didn't have problems in the secondary in Jeff County. They cleaned it up at Jeff County. They struggled in the secondary in fall camp in spring camp against Gibbs. From what we saw, the Catholic scrimmage was a big indicator for me that they'll get it cleaned up. Because now it's like you're seeing some of that stuff being ran at you. And you've got game film. And I really hope that, they look at that game film from last year to see some things that could be different. But I really think they do have a legit shot at being a state contender, all depending on this game.
Mm-hmm.
They have to go into and they have to go into the hostile environment. Like everyone in the city is going to be at this game.
Yeah,
I've been there for multiple games, and when it's been the Saturday night game for a while now. And when I say it's standing room only, I've seen. I remember one year at West, I saw Cade Mays there.
Yeah.
Before he's already committed to UT, but he was there. Man, that was a big dude. Holy sh!
He was a big dude.
But I mean, when you have D1 commits coming to this game, like this is the go-to game. Ain't nobody else playing on Saturday night prime time. Like you show up.
Well, and that's why I'm saying, like, you're going to have rival teams from both schools be there. You're going to see Matt Lowe and Powell there. You're going to see Farragut's people there because they play both. I mean, hell, Farragut plays West in 3 weeks.
This game is televised. We already know people will be recorded. If you ain't making it to the game, you're recording that game. You're going to do what I was doing earlier, which is watching film, looking what these are. Like, I've got 3 different packets. I've got 3 different offensive play styles that the team I'm going against this Saturday likes to run. They do a beast package, they do a trips, and they do the same thing that I do offensively. And like I'm already game prepping. My game's not till Saturday.
Well, and can I tell you this? You've got West or Alcoa. Alcoa is going to be there because they got Bearden next week, and then they play West in about 5 or 6 weeks away.
If that's correct, that game will be at Bearden because that game. Yeah, so Bearden goes this year with 2 home games. Last year, I think they played 3 road games before they even played at home last year.
Yeah. So no, that now it's the schedule flips and so forth, and then of course West will be against Clinton with their home opener next Friday. So short week for both teams. Short week for both teams with the game being played on a Saturday. But honestly, you look at it. If West can control the tempo of this game,
Mm-hmm.
with that stable of running backs, with the big offensive line, like they mentioned. That's going to, I think, put some pressure on Bearden. Does Bearden want to throw the ball? And if West can get some pressure on this quarterback for Bearden, this transfer from Mississippi, I really believe that maybe some turnovers can happen. And if West goes up, maybe say 14-0. How does Bearden react? We've seen West be down 14-0, and they
Mm-hmm.
came back against Catholic. They handled it. But I'm curious to see if some team does throw a haymaker and puts the other team in a hole. How does that happen? Because last year it really was too close. Like it didn't happen. Like where one team took that haymaker on somebody else. So yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see who holds on to the ball, the turnover factors, things like that are going to dictate how this game is played. And anybody in the chat box can throw in what they think could be factors in this game. I just know also that the West defense, I think, has something to prove because of the fact that, yes, they've lost some key guys, but they've got some guys there that are really ready to make a name for themselves, I think, on both sides of the ball, as well as special teams. What say you guys?
Uh, I really think they just got to control the time of possession. They have to control the time of possession for them to be successful, because you notice when Parker Dubon gets in a good rhythm of completing one or two passes, then setting up the run, and then when it just goes to that ground attack, then you open some room for some of those big play hitters.
Yeah. I think the key of the game is definitely going to be controlling the ball, controlling the clock. I think Bearden's lost a lot of key contributors. I mean, they still got stable running backs back there. I don't know much about this new quarterback. I know two of the receivers they've got. Secondary, I'm not sure who else is back there. I've got one. I know I've got at least one former player playing back there. But I think West has it. I think Bearden's key will be, and it's what I've said the whole time with West, is that middle part of the defensive secondary and the linebackers who are playing is easy to pick apart, but I don't know what this quarterback can do. I don't know if he likes to run. I know Bearden lost 14-0 to Powell during their Jamboree game out at Gibbs, which that says a lot. If you've got a team that scored 14 points in a quarter and you don't answer, that says a lot about what you offensively can do. Just like we went up 14-0 against Grace. I mean, it's Grace. I've never seen them do anything major, but you score 14 points in a quarter, and you can average that, and you can hold a team, you're jumping up quick. And if West could do what they did against Grace in a quarter, and you know what the other team gave up in a quarter, you're going to pounce early. And this could be a very lopsided game very quickly. We've not seen that in the past with these two teams. This determines where we are as a program as West heading into this year. And it will also determine where Bearden wants to go as a program. So my money right now is I put a paycheck on West dominating this game.
Wow. And that's coming from a guy that was in Bearden's program and knows their stuff. So, yeah.
I think there's been a lot of the way they do things over there, I think it's been a lot of plug and play with the way they get players in there right now. But West, we're a community. These kids grow up and play together. They take pride in that program. I mean, sometimes it is about the Jimmies and Joes, not the X's and O's, but I think this one is a little bit different. I mean, it's
Shane, can I ask you this? And Tupper, I'd like you to chime in on it too. And I've talked about it at ad lib, and maybe that this could even show up on Saturday. I'm not wanting to disrespect Bearden's staff, but the fact is, you had some guys that you've had some turnover with their staff. Kevin Lane is not there. He's now at Central. He's going to be coaching his first game as a head coach against Fulton. Shout out to Kevin Lane and best of luck to you, Central, honestly, on Friday. But truth be told, this West coaching staff has not lost anybody. And there should be something to be said about the camaraderie of this group.
I'll let you speak first, BT, then I'll chime in.
Yeah, I mean they're well coached, and these guys have been together with this program for a very, very long time. Like you just see the familiar faces when you see their coaches. And the thing about West coaches is they are not satisfied. Like they always feel they can get better. They always feel they can get better. Like we left the Catholic scrimmage knowing that they're gonna get better. The more that they play, the better they get.
Yep.
Something to think about.
When it comes to a coaching standpoint, when you keep the same staff together, yes, you're going to lose guys to other programs here and there. But when you keep a program together like we have, it speaks to the caliber of your staff, what they're going to accomplish. You always want your guys to go on. You always want to see a guy go on to bigger and better things. That's the coaching tree and how it works. But you know the tendencies. You know what the coach is thinking. You know every aspect of like, hey, we're going to look at this. We're going to do that. Like, you don't have to worry about like, hey, here we are in a goal line situation or a red line situation. What are we going to do? Like, what's the D line going to call? What's the linebacker call? What's my secondary coverage? Like, you know what the tendencies are. Like, you know exactly like, hey, he's going to call this or this or this. You're going to have about 3 options depending on what the package looks like out there on the field, and you're going to know what everybody is to do. When you start changing coaches in and out regularly, and people go on to other places, even though you have that offseason to kind of learn from each other, you don't know what they're going to call exactly when it comes down to the final. Okay, here's what the secondary's doing, here's what the linebackers doing, here's what they're doing, or even on the offensive side. Okay, how's my run back going to coach up? What my receivers going to run? Do they know where they need to block? They know their assignment. These guys know each other in and out. They know exactly what they're going to run. And as you know, I've come into a new program this year, and me and this coach, we haven't coached together, and we both look at football differently. And there's things that I see, there's things that he sees that are completely different. And hopefully over the next 3 years that we get on the same page with a lot of things. But I know as a coach, like I coached with a bunch of great guys for multiple years. I knew exactly what we were all going to do. And like I knew even I was more of an offensive guy than I was a defensive guy, this coaching wise. I knew what my defensive guys were going to call. I knew what they were going to do. I knew how to game prep. I knew what was going to call. I was like, hey, here's what I see, and here's what I would do. And be like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what we're going to run. Like, it's there's a reason why there's a lot of change over right there.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of coaches in and out over the last, let's see, this be his, third season there, if I'm correct? Yep, because I knew I knew when the last coach was stepping down because my daughter played for that team. I knew what was going on there. That's a whole other story. I'll stay out of that one. But like there was a lot of changeover, especially the last 3 years. I haven't seen a lot of the same coaches there. And I don't know if everybody is a stepping stone, but even when it comes, I said the players have this. I also think the coaching staff has this. I think the coaching staff knows each other well enough to where they will call this game the way it needs to be and exploit everything they see because they know each other's tendencies.
Exactly. I think so too. They do know each other's tendencies. It's like you've seen a team enough times to know what they're gonna do.
Yeah. Like you have trust, confidence, and faith in what they're going to do. Yeah, I mean, on the Bearden's has they've got guys that stayed, they've got guys that have left. They've had guys that came on there and left early. There was a former Tennessee football player that was joined the staff. And I think it's due to personal reasons or a better opportunity, he left. Who was it? Actually, I will say it was Josh Smith. He was going to take a position there, and then things changed. Like it's just been they had that much turnover, in my opinion. Like you got to know you've got guys that are in there, and they're committed to the program. Like the last group of guys I said that were committed to that program have all gone to other programs. 2 of them are at Farragut right now.
Another thing that we'll talk about more on Saturday, obviously, when we do break it down, when and I'll have players' names and things of that nature based on what we've seen. Bearden, they had a jamboree against Powell, and it was 7-6 was the final. Powell with the 7, Bearden with the 6. I guess what I was really intrigued with was the fact that, Powell's been talking about how they had to rebuild their offensive line. They lost a lot of their guys from last year's team, but they seem to have been able to move the ball on Bearden's defense. If I know you can't say, well, if this happens here and this happens, you can't do it like that. But if West's offensive line can stay penalty free, I'm talking not getting the holding calls, not jumping early, and just doing what they're supposed to be doing, I think West has a great shot to really run the ball on Bearden's defense. I don't know. I just feel like that could be something where and Shane, if you can speak on this, last year's Bearden's defense held West's offense in check for 3 quarters.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, West couldn't run the ball. I mean, they had limited Marshawn Bowers. Bowers even fumbled a time or two. I mean, West could not really get anything going, but I think the heat and things of that nature just kind of helped West, there at the end. But realistically, that Bearden front last year was ferocious up front. They were. And I'm not saying they're not going to be this year, but they've lost some pieces, like you said.
I think the difference maker for Bearden's defense will be Kai Ironside. That kid's instinct to the football is a beast. I mean, that kid's 5'10", 6 foot, somewhere in there. I think he's probably about 185, maybe 200. I don't know. He still looks a little slim. But, man, that kid is a beast. And he has a knack to find the football, and he will disrupt quickly. And he
was all over the place last year. He was all over the place in that game last year.
And that's another kid I love to death. I mean, that kid, like I've talked about before, I took a hit from him when he was 10 years old. And I had, those single shield pads that you just wrap one arm in and you let him hit and run the block and all that stuff. I mean, he sent that thing into my mouth with his helmet and his arms and his pads. I had to pass that pad off and go check my mouth to make sure I still had all my teeth. But that kid is a decent middle linebacker. You want to run the ball, you got to take care of Kai. And Kai is a beast. Secondary-wise, the only one I can think of off the top of my head that I know is Ethan Kubatier. He's got some offers for some schools. That kid will be playing. Last I checked, this is last year, plays corner. He's got instinct to find the ball. He made some picks last year in the season. I'm not sure about the defensive line. Boston Yeager. That kid is every bit of 275 pounds at about 6'3". He's got a couple of visits and offers, I think. That kid's a beast. You've got some dogs up there that you're, no pun intended, Bulldogs, Dogs, whatever. But you've got some guys you've got to account for. But what I've seen from West, especially where they handle Catholic, is, I mean, you can handle Catholic and those kids can ball. I still think West can handle everybody. And it's just going to be one of those you account for the guys that I mentioned, you will have your day.
Yeah. I have the two names for you. Shane, you didn't know them earlier, but two pair just to clue you guys in. Other than Jason Thompson, the other running back that they've been really riding on is a kid by the name of Torian Riggins. He's 5'9", 218 pounds, so that's a bulldozer coming at you.
Torian's a good Torian. He did do too good last year. He was third string up until
Merriweather got hurt.
Merriweather was basically out for the year and shut it down so he could early enroll. He's going to be your short yardage guy.
Mm-hmm.
But Jason's going to be the guy. Jason's going to be the main guy. Thompson getting the rock, and DJ Hunter is the transfer from Mississippi. That's their quarterback. He fumbled out of the end zone on his first drive in that game against Powell, and then he made up for it. He went a perfect 4 for 4 for 38 yards, capping it off with a 14-yard touchdown strike. And I guess the extra point didn't make it, or they tried to go for 2, but that's how they ended up with the 6 in their game against Powell. I just wanted to look that up for you guys. So, yeah.
I also just looked up key East Tennessee games this weekend going into
read them off. Read them off. So,
all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we know we got the Thursday Powell versus Anderson County for Thursday night rivalry. Then we got William Blunt at Austin East, Halls at Campbell County, Clinton at Cleveland, Farragut at DB, which is a good district game, and obviously, West Bearden.
Huge games. Games.
There's a good slate up there. I'd actually like to get to where we start breaking down these big games in the local area each week and kind of make our pick and then pick what our game of the week is.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We can make some picks tonight. Why don't we do that anyway? Read those games off and
all right. So
I'll start real quick. So
we already know what the game of the week is. So we'll just like College Game Day does it. So we don't already know what the game of the week is. So we'll wait for that one for the end. We already know what our picks are going to be. But we'll start with Thursday night's game: Powell versus Anderson County.
One thing I want to tell you guys, and it's not really been let known, but Connor Wheeler has to sit out the first half of the game because he got ejected in the fourth quarter against West in their playoff game. So by rules, you have to sit out the first half of the next game that you play in. If you're a senior, it doesn't matter, but if you're an underclassman or coming back, you have to sit out. So what does Anderson County do in that first half? Not to say that there's not more talent that can run the ball, but to go from Connor Wheeler to the backup, there's a reason, but they're going to key in on Deuce. Anderson County's got Campbell County's quarterback that just transferred over to AC. So, going back and forth, I would love to see Anderson County win, but I've got to go with Powell. I'm sorry. I've got to pick Powell in this one. So that's who I'm going with.
Okay.
Two pair?
BT, what you got?
Well, let's see. Think I'm going to have to take Anderson County.
Good pick.
I'll take Anderson County.
I'm going to go – I will go Powell on this one. Anderson County's got the pick – literally has a pick of who they want out of Anderson County. It's a little weird up there. Like, you can live in Oak Ridge and still go play for Anderson County. You can play on the outskirts. They've got everybody.
Same with Clinton, probably too. Probably Clinton as well, right? So
I know for a fact that they would pull kids from Campbell County.
Yeah, and their quarterback. Now that the Price twins are gone from Campbell County, and Campbell County is going to be more wing T based. So yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to go Powell on this one. I think Powell wants to make a statement. Anderson County's 2 years removed from a state title. Powell wants to get back there. I think Powell takes it. I think Anderson County's lost enough players over the past 2 seasons to where it's Powell's for taking.
Gotcha. Good. Hold on one second, real quick. I got to give a shout out to my guy who I celebrated his 40th birthday with this weekend, Mr. Mark Machado, Guy Man Stuff. Yeah, we sure did have fun with Lyle Asuncion Fernandez. Way to go, Lyle Asuncion Fernandez from Chico, California, via Santo Domingo. So, I love it. I had to do it. So shout out to my guy. Thanks for supporting the show, brother. I love you and miss you. We had a great time this weekend. So. All right, Shane, next game.
Next up, we got William Blunt versus Austin East.
You know, I'm going to go with AE and Stanton. I think that they find a way to do it. I think AE and Stanton get it done. So, yeah, even without the cherries. So, yeah.
I'm going to have to go AE. I feel like they get it done because Stanton is going to scheme them to death.
I'm gonna go with AE also. I think bringing AE Blood back in there, I think the program is making a turn back to where they used to be. William Blunt has yet to impress me really when it comes to football. They've been good basketball here and there. They've had some okay football seasons, but I think given the staff that AE has and who they brought back in and the players they've got there, I'm going to AE as well.
Gotcha. Good pick. What's the next one?
We got Halls and Campbell County.
Halls against Campbell County?
Yep.
Okay. Best excuse me. Best of luck to Pemberton and Campbell County, but I don't think that he has the guys to make it a run game type of offense, considering that they've been nothing but pass with the Price twins for 10 plus years now. So there's going to be a little bit of a transition issue. Halls returns a great quarterback, a lot of success from last year's team. I like Halls big in this game, by the way. So, yeah.
I like Halls just because I feel like defensively they got some guys that can really play. They got some guys. They should not give up a bunch of scores to Campbell County. They shouldn't.
No, not at all.
If they do, I'm gonna be totally shocked because they've been watching our podcast and we got
we seem to motivate some teams sometimes too, Pierce. So yeah,
seem to motivate a bunch of teams to start winning. All of a sudden, y'all want to start winning and playing good defense, huh?
Hey, maybe we should put a Cash App or a Venmo or a Zelle for us up there. Yeah, you can thank us later or whatever. We get tips all the time. Shane, go ahead. I'm sorry, bud. So
I like Halls as well. I think they want to come back out and prove last year wasn't a fluke. They started out 6-0 last year, if I remember, and had the opportunity to go 7, and something just slipped on that one. It was a blowout. But I think Halls returns enough players. I think the staff does well. I take Halls big.
Yeah, I think Halls.
I say it's a 2-3 score game at that point.
For sure. So,
all right.
What's the next one?
Next up, we got Clinton versus Cleveland.
You know, here's the thing. I know that we play Clinton next week and so forth, and they're not even a shell of what they were last year. Coaching changed, a lot of stuff. Players left that program. I think Cleveland wins this game pretty handily, and it's going to be a long year for Clinton. I could be completely wrong, but I just think it's going to be a long year for the Dragons. But I got Cleveland winning very comfortably Friday night.
With the things that's happened with their administration and their football team, it's just not looking like the program of what it used to be. And I think they're going to have a bunch of trouble with Cleveland. And it may be over before it starts.
I'm gonna go Cleveland also. Honestly, the coaching change when they made the change, I was during spring practice.
Yeah.
I don't think you've had enough time to put anything. They just kind of put a guy in there till they find their guy. I don't think. I mean, the Clinton players could rally behind it, as a rallying cry, but I think the season Cleveland had last year, they had some upsets that nobody saw coming, and I think Cleveland takes it. I think it'll be a close game, but I still think Cleveland probably comes out within 10 points.
Okay. All right. What's the next one?
Next one up, district matchup for good old 6A, Farragut and Dobbins Bennett.
You know, I have been going back and forth on this one. I think Farragut will get it done in Jeff Courtney's debut. You know, it's going to be. It's interesting. You know, for so many years, his father roamed the sidelines, and now it's him. You know, it's still in the Courtney name.
And it's really part of the football operations.
Yes. So I mean,
he's not done, when he's there. It's just less responsibility.
Yeah. But I think that, you know, it's the same offense. You talk about, you know, they've pretty much kept that coaching staff together. The kids, you know that they let one slip last year. There's a lot to be said about motivation. I think Farragut gets it done against Dobbins Bennett up there. And if the rumors are true, I hear that DB, you know, not that they've been the DB of years past or whatever, but they were not looking so hot in some scrimmages, according to the message board. And I think DB is going to have a long year this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if Farragut puts it on him, to be honest with you. So, yeah.
Yeah. I like that Farragut choice over DB. One thing to expect, though, is the emotions of what's going into that game for Farragut. With the you know what I'm saying, the head coach, where father was the head coach there before, and there's going to be a lot of emotions riding in that family, and those players are not going to let their coach down the first game. Look for an impressive win.
I mean, it's always a hostile environment up there at DB. I've been there a couple times.
Isn't that experience awesome, Shane? That double-decker stadium or triple-decker? What is that, man?
That stadium is like going to I equivalent to like a D2 school.
It is. It's like going to a Carson Newman game. Like, yeah.
But I mean, it's an amazing atmosphere up there. But it's a hostile environment. It is very hostile. It is. But in that 2.5 hour drive, and you hit traffic, it gets worse. Especially driving up 81. I've made that drive multiple times. Not a fun drive, especially coming back home, even being victors at those games. A long drive home. But
hey, two-pair, when you park there, it's like parking at the fair. You have to walk like forever to get, because there ain't no parking near that stadium. It's like you went to the fair.
I've had to park at a park and walk across like the main strip.
I parked at that park, so yeah.
I've had to park at that park and walk across. You know, I've got a cheerleader, and back when Keegan was younger, it's like, wait, stay right here next to that. Hold my hand. We run across this street. I'm picking you up, and we're running.
Yeah, you got to run across like the main highway that goes through there, or whatever, like that. It's like 4 lanes or something.
My kid's grandmother lives up there, so that drive is brutal. And I've made that drive and turned that thing into a 3.5 hour drive. I think I truly believe Farragut, with the caliber players they have, the way last season was really rough for them, but we know what Farragut brings to the table. They are always competitive. I think DB is in a slump. I think it's going to be a slugfest. Farragut by 3.
Nice.
And, of course, the game of the week. No biases here as we make our picks, even though our program is what our program is. Saturday night, 8 p.m. at what they call the Doghouse, at the Pike, West and Bearden.
I think that this game is going to be, I think both teams are going to feel each other out a little bit. I would be very shocked if one team jumps on the other, like that 14-0, 17-0 deficit, like I talked about. I also want to see whoever does get punched in the mouth, who responds, and do they have enough fight in them to punch back? That's for both teams if I was being neutral in this, making this pick. That being said, I've got to go with West. I've got to go with West because I think these kids that are on this team want to write their own story. They're entitled to write their own story, and I don't think they want to be the class that loses to Bearden, because so far a couple of graduating classes don't know what that feels like, and I don't think this one wants to start. And they want to start a journey, and I think West wins by 10 points. So I got West winning by 10. I actually, you know what? Let me go this 31-20. We get a field goal.
Yeah. I want score predictions for this one. I want score predictions.
Yeah. No, I'm going to go 31-20. West with the victory. Two-pair, you mentioned it. When West scores that 30 points, it's virtually a lock to win. And so basically that's where I'm shooting for, that we get a field goal along with 4 touchdowns, control the clock. Defense makes a couple of stops, and that's going to be the difference. 31-20, West wins that game. Your turn, two-pair.
Well, the way I was seeing it is like, we gotta have the tempo in our favor for us to win that game. They got to play mistake-free football. They have to play mistake-free football. If they can control the time of possession and get the ball into our skill players like Trotta, like Burdine, like Mills, like Ray, those names are the names that need to be called upon because there's so many weapons on that offense. The things that the things that Bearden need to do, if Bearden plays a complete football game and doesn't turn the football over, they can beat West.
Oh, of course.
Like, West had the secondary is one thing we've harped on, and I hope that by the time Saturday comes, that we have got everything down to a science and make plays in the secondary so that they can win the game. I got West winning, not by much, but I've got them winning.
Okay, you got a score?
What's your score prediction?
I got a score 24-21.
Okay.
But if they score 30, you might as well wrap it up.
For West, if West scores 30, it's a wrap.
You know what? I think it might not. Let me go 30-27.
30-27? Okay.
30-27?
Yep, 30-27. I got it.
I'm writing all of these down. Okay.
Cool.
All right. So my pick, knowing both programs very well at this point, I think West's front 7 disrupts the run game. You have to respect that run game, though, from both teams. I think the secondary for West will be the Achilles heel, but I think the heart of that front 7 will still prevail. Bearden will give them a fight. They've got some speed with some kids I know that can on the outside. Not sure how the hands are. Coaching wise, I know what I see from both staffs. I've watched enough games over the years. I'm going first team to 20 wins this game.
Okay.
It's always been close, especially these last couple of years. It's never been a shootout. It's never been a shootout. It's been a defensive struggle.
Mm-hmm.
I've got West winning 20-13 with Bearden making a drive to the end and ending like last year.
Like an interception, stopping it or something.
Interception, a sack, a fumble, something along those lines. But I'm going 20-13. It's going to be close. It's going to come down to the final drive. of who wins this game. I think we won't see a true victor till the fourth quarter, late in the game. The way these games have gone down in the past, these two teams have the passion is there with both these teams, especially player wise. I truly believe West pulls out, but it'll be within 7 points.
Yeah. Honestly, as long as we have one more point than them, I'll be thrilled because we'll be partying Saturday night. So that's how I feel about it, honestly. So, yeah.
Walk out afterwards, pick a mill.
Yeah. Well, and so switching gears from the high school scene, and of course, we'll talk more about this game and make those predictions again on game day Saturday. Hope everybody can tune in and watch. I want to talk a little college football week 0. We've got 4 games on the slate, one of which I know that you're probably going to be excited about, a 2 pair. Florida State and Georgia Tech from Ireland. And Seamus is going to be the guest picker on the real college game day. So,
I think Florida State wins. I just think Georgia Tech, though. Georgia Tech has got to get off to a fast start. Georgia Tech doesn't get off to a fast start. You saw what happened to them against Louisville in last year's opening game. I think this is one of those games where Georgia Tech's got to get back on the map. They need this win more than Florida State. Florida State, I think, pulls it off. Look for them to get Malik Benson really going, and Williams, and just get those guys going. There's a lot of talent on that Florida State team, man. A lot of talent. And Georgia Tech's quarterback is gonna dictate this game as well.
What's crazy is the fact that, it's a conference game right off the bat. And, they don't do like the divisions anymore. It's like the best record wins. And, it almost is like a must win game for both teams if you want to be in contention to get one of those spots in the ACC championship. I mean, and now you've added 3 more teams to that, with Stanford and SMU joining the fold and so forth, and Cal. So you've got 3 teams that are now part of the ACC. So it is a must-win game. Props to both teams for even having this game in Ireland and your week 0, that's at least it's an interesting game because realistically, no disrespect to the other teams playing, but in years past, that week 0 game has been snooze ball city, like last year, Notre Dame whipped the absolute hell out of Navy, and Hawaii and Vanderbilt played, you know what I mean? But the other 3 games that are going to be on throughout the day is Montana State at New Mexico, SMU at Nevada. I mentioned SMU now part of the ACC, so they need a win out of conference there. And then the night game is going to be the Delaware Fighting Blue Hens against the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. So that's going to be your full slate. The Delaware Fighting Blue Hens are going to Hawaii to take on the Rainbow Warriors and Timmy Chang. So, yeah, I mean.
Oh, man. Shout out to Timmy Chang, man.
Timmy Chang, baby.
Shout out to Delaware, though. Blue Hens. Blue Hens.
Yeah.
The Blue Hens.
Hey, speaking of which, I don't know if you remember this kid or not. He graduated with you guys, and he was the biggest Hawaii Rainbow Warriors fan. He was so devoted that, like, back before you now have this ESPN game plan and you can watch all these games on ESPN Plus, he literally would, on the internet, sit in front of his computer and listen to, like, the game on radio with dial-up, like maybe even like a little bit of internet. JD Trevathan, he was a huge Hawaii Rainbow Warrior fan. Yeah. Yes. He went to West. Yes. So yeah, he was a huge Rainbow Warrior Hawaii fan, and he kept me up on all that stuff. So shout out to him.
I wonder where is he at, man?
I don't know. I hadn't talked to that guy since 2003 or 2004, so it's about
we need to look him up, man. Look him up on Facebook, man.
But he was a big Rainbow Warrior Hawaii fan, and every time they play, I think of him and so forth. So yeah,
he's such a funny dude, man. He's hilarious. I love him, man.
Yeah,
funny guy. JD Trevathan.
I'm just glad football's back, guys. None of this preseason crap. I mean, it's here, man. I'm excited, guys.
I can't wait to wake up turn on ESPN and watch College Game Day again.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And of course I'm preventing us from doing that. And thank you guys for wasting your time. No, it's not wasting, but volunteering your time that we can make this dream happen of doing a show from the high school to preview these two games.
Man.
These two
I mean,
schools.
like,
So,
you never think something like this would ever happen. That's kind of groundbreaking.
it is.
Like,
No,
to be
it
the
truly
first
is.
podcast to do an official Knoxville game day. It's pretty wild to think about.
It is. It truly is. So.
We're gonna be it's went from a podcast to a
we are a movement.
Production.
We are a movement.
Yes, we are. Yeah. Hey, instead of coming to your city, we coming to your school. We coming to your school. So.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss a ton of College Game Day this year because all of my son's games fall between 9, with exception of this week, between 9 and 11:30 every week.
I'm already screwing you out of watching Game Day. So there we go. So shoot. I did.
Funny story.
Go ahead.
Quick. Back when he was playing basketball, this was years ago, back when he played little 3-on-3, when he was like 5, 6 years old with a WBBL. It was one of the first Tennessee-Memphis matchups.
Mm-mm.
I'm standing under the goal, calling plays with my phone out, and a buddy of mine is next to me. His son played baseball with my son. We are watching the Tennessee-Memphis game under the back while calling plays. It's like, yeah, you pass that. Hold on. We had the ref coming up. We're like, what y'all doing? Like, we're watching the game. He's like, what's the score?
What's the score? Can you imagine? Listen to this. Oh, shoot.
Man, like my son was like, Dad, can you see the shot I made? I was like, oh yeah, great shot, son. But man, did you see the dunk?
Well, talking about UT, great transition. Real quick, high school game day, 10 a.m. Saturday on the Rebels with a Cause 1324 channel. We'll be sending the link. We'll be putting it on all the media. If you can't be there, definitely watch it. Hit that like and subscribe button, guys. We appreciate all the views and the support. So definitely check us out. But speaking of UT, we're 11 days away from their first game next week, which is going to be amazing. But you guys wanted to talk a little UT recruiting because they had some major guys, some dudes. So yeah,
who would have thunk it? Like the University of Tennessee, the past few weeks in recruiting have been burning it up. What
do they rank now? I mean, they must be climbing. So
it's got to be pretty high.
Let me look at what this will be the 26 class, right?
25 actually. 25. Yeah. 25. Yeah, because this big old lineman, he was ranked like the best offensive lineman in the country or whatever. It's a true 5-star.
Dave Sanders Jr. Who it was looking like it could have been us, but it was when you really thought about it, I think he was going to Tennessee all the way. Mm-hmm. I felt like there was.
Yeah, I heard for weeks that he was going to Tennessee. He is literally the top-ranked player that we have coming in this class. Tennessee is currently ranked 6th in the nation.
Wow.
But there's a but. They are ranked 5th in the SEC.
That's just sick. That's sick. That is just sick. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, let me guess. The other team is Ohio State. Let me guess. The other team's Ohio State that probably is ranked higher than them recruiting-wise.
Ohio State is ranked.
So there you go.
They are number one. Now here's the next 4 teams in front of Tennessee as of right now. We'll work our way up. Auburn, 5th in the nation.
Now that shocks me. Keep going.
Georgia, 4th.
No surprise.
LSU, 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Alabama has 6 this is according to 247. Alabama's got 6 5-stars currently committed. 11 4-stars. LSU's got 13. 5 stars, 15 4 stars. Georgia, 3 5 stars, 16 4. Auburn is a very, very close 5th and 6th. You could probably flip it based off the rankings on this one. Tennessee could be top 5. Auburn could be top 10.
Can I say something? I'm really surprised Auburn is ahead of Tennessee. I shouldn't be, because remember, Hugh Freeze could recruit, and of course he got in trouble at Ole Miss with all that stuff. But the truth of it is, I would have thought Texas would have been there. Sarkisian with Texas would have been ahead of us. But
let's see if I even see him. Hold on. Texas is 14th.
Wow, that's kind of shocking to me, unless they're going to pull some later on.
They've got 16 commits total, only 1 5-star. Now, the composite score difference between Tennessee and Auburn right now. Auburn is sitting at a 27.980 with 14 commits, 22 total. So they got some 3 stars and others. They got 22 commits. Tennessee has 1 more commit, 1 more 5-star, 13 4 stars, 279.41. So there's only a difference of 0.39 in the composite score. This is based off 247. So rankings fluctuate based off who your recruiting service is. I would give Tennessee, I would put Tennessee top 5. I would switch Auburn and Tennessee with the flip of the Alabama commit with that 4-star. And then the signing of Sanders the other day, I would put Tennessee above. That's my personal opinion. I'm not showing bias because I'm a ball for life. That's my school. But you got more commits. You got the number 1 offensive tackle in the nation. You can't tell me that there's literally that much difference. And I think it's just composite score based off who the scout is and looking at everything. I put Tennessee top 5.
Can I just tell you this? I'm glad you looked at the 247, because that's who I prefer. I think On 3 stinks. I really do. I think they're too difficult. I do. They're too difficult. They're too tough on the kids. Like you look at the outlet services, they're always the one that is the bearish, like the least of the 5 stars, and that's fine. But when 3 of the 4 services are having a kid as a 5-star and you have them as a 4, what are you not seeing that they're seeing? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm
going against ESPN because
they stink too.
They show bias based off your program name.
Yeah, they do.
It's like, oh, you're an Alabama commit. Oh, you're a 5-star. Oh, you signed a flip to Tennessee. Now you're a 3-star. What happened between playing for Saban at the time and playing for Heupel? Like, what's the difference? Like, why did he drop so much? Like, what's the difference here? I've never liked the way ESPN does it. I like 247's the way they do their things, but I think on this one they got just a little wrong. We've got more commits and we've got literally the number 1 player, and they don't have a single 5-star. I bumped up just a hair. I think the score should be. I think it should be that 0.39 point differential between us and them going the other way.
I agree with that. So, yeah, and it'll work itself out, because let me tell you something. If some of these teams don't have those hottest seasons or whatever, like in Auburn and so forth like that, don't be surprised if some guys jump ship. You know what I mean? Type of a thing, too. Until that final pen to paper is done in December. And it's crazy I'm saying December, because February used to be so amazing. But we're not – that we could spend a whole episode talking about that. So.
I miss the actual national signing day. I miss that. Like, I would take that too. I would take that day off from work. I would go over to the Dead End Barbecue with my buddy, Sway, stuff, and I would sit there and I would be there the whole time. Get that nice little breakfast brunch they had going on with the buffet, and enjoy it and listen to the recruits get signed and hear the interviews. But man, it's not the same anymore. Of course,
it ain't the same.
But it's still.
Well, and the thing is, it's right before the bowl games, or right in the middle of the bowl games and everything. And now it's going to be even more
Mm-hmm.
interesting because now you got the playoffs, and so forth. So, but one thing I do want to do next week for next week's show, obviously, we'll break down the Bearden game, we'll preview the Clinton game, but maybe we can even make some predictions for who we think are going to make the playoffs and ultimately win the national championship. I think that'd be fun, even with Florida State playing already. We could do that next week's show. So, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Speaking of the bowl games in the playoffs, do we see players opt out as much now?
That's a great question.
Great question.
Maybe it's something we
I hope
sit on
not.
week.
We hope not. We hope not. We hope we get guys to play now. Unless you're going to the draft
for the week and think about how that impacts the college playoff scenario as we work our way through the season.
Yep. No,
impacts
this is
it a
true.
lot.
It does. It does. So, well, guys, what a great show. Like I said, we're going to do it again Saturday at 10 a.m. early, and the weather cannot be more perfect for a game, guys. I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing, nice, sunny, not too hot, not too cold. I mean, it is unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, yeah, for sure. Shane, final thoughts as we wrap up this another amazing show. And like I said, if you watched it live, please hit that like button. If you watch it recorded, please hit that like button and spread the love, spread the word, man. Honestly, Rebels with a cause, man.
Final thoughts. I think we got a great week of football coming up. Welcome back high school football. Welcome back college football. Big games this week across the board. Obviously, game of the week, west of Bearden, Saturday night. Be there. Knox County, you want to see a game? Come out to Bearden High School. Watch West dominate this game. I mean, I can't wait. The atmosphere is going to be insane. Get there early. Hey, y'all want to be on the podcast? Jump out. We need a fan section out there. I've already issued the challenge to both schools last week. I've already put the plug in the ear of my daughter to get her friends out there. Be out there, be loud, be supportive of your school, represent. Let's make an atmosphere this weekend. Great football, great weather, no early game. Be there Saturday night. Support your team. Knox County, we welcome y'all. Let's see this game go.
Yeah, all I'm going to say is to my I give the pep talk on Saturday's show. But guys, continue to have a week of practice. Shout out to all our Rebel brothers. We believe in you guys. We got you. We are One West. You've got the support. Just do your thing. You've done it. You've done it 29 out of 30 times the last 2 years. Just keep going. And you know how to play. You know our game. We know what we need to do. And ultimately, at the end, we should be victorious. Like Shane said, 10 a.m. Come out, be loud. I'm so happy that Two Pair will actually be there. I know that there was a little bit of it was a little uneasy about that, but I know Two Pair's going to have that phone with him, and he's going to be remote. Maybe even go and interview some fans, some students there if they show up, and get them loud on camera and so forth. So we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun on Saturday. So show up, and as always, baby, it's always about that W. So, but Two Pair, light us up, man. How do you want it? What are your final thoughts, man?
Oh man, my final thoughts. It's just gonna be an epic night of great high school football. Please be in the area for it, and we're gonna continue to cover some of the best games and some of the best performers in high school football around this area. And you're getting a game day experience at 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning. So, I mean, what more can be better than that?
Can't. Yeah. Thanks be to God that we can do this. Honestly. Yep. For sure.
Maybe if the student section show out, we can do this again on Friday night, way before we all get off work early enough.
I know, right? So, hey, I'll tell you this: if the West students show up and the Bearden students, bring signs, bring your flags, wear your shirts. Be loud and proud, man. Support your school. That's a challenge to you guys. So, yeah. All right, guys. Well, two pair, close us out, baby, as always. So, guys,
Hey,
got to throw up
man.
them dubs,
Throw
man.
them
Got to throw
dubs
up
up.
them dubs up, man.
Throw
It's
them
all about the
dubs up,
W.
man. This is Rebels with a Cause. This is a great show, man. Love, peace, and chicken grease. We up out of here till next week.
And just remember that cause don't stop when the clock hits 0, baby.
That's
We
it.
out.
We are out. Throw dubs up. Be good.